Did I actually become more creative? I think I would put a kind of next to this one. Hi guys, good morning. Welcome back to another video. I'm especially excited about today's video because it came to me late last night. It's been something that I've been wanting to do for a while, and by the title of this video, you're probably like, this is going to be a very boring vlog. But I'd like to caveat where this idea came about and what my goal is around having a do nothing day. And the idea first came about from reading The Artist's Way. If you haven't read The Artist's Way, it's kind of like a guidebook in a way of like trying to rediscover your creativity. And the first chapter, the author talks about having an artist date. And essentially what they say that the artist date is just a block of time, maybe 2 hours a week or a whole day, but you set aside time to nurture your inner artist. And essentially the artist date is just a play date with yourself. But I'm kind of taking this away from the artistic approach and just having a day where I don't feel obligated to do anything. And I kind of just want to see what comes out of this day. I feel like nowadays we're in a day and age where we're always busy. At least for me, I feel like I'm always rushing from one thing to the next and constantly filling my time with something. And I never have a moment or a day where I'm just like, what do I want to do today? Maybe I'm a little bored and I get into something that I've always wanted to do. So essentially I'm giving myself a day where I don't have to do any chores if I don't want to. I'm not going to do any work. This is solely a day of just spontaneity in the moment. What do I feel like doing? What feels good to me? What have I been putting off that I feel like I don't have time for? And I am hoping if I have more days like this that it will reignite my creativity and allow me to feel inspired again. Because at least for me, I've noticed when I constantly keep my mind busy, when I feel like I have so many obligations in the day, then I feel like I'm not giving myself time to rest, to be bored, and really allow myself to feel inspired. And obviously I know not everyone can dedicate a whole entire day to this. Whether you're a parent, you have a full-time job, and maybe like the book said, it's just a few hours a week that you can dedicate your time to just doing something that you're doing for fun, not because you have to. And I feel like what also inspired this idea is my husband's obsessed with golf. And if anyone golfs, or maybe your husband golfs, you know that it's a commitment of a sport. Like you're pretty much out for 5-6 hours at a time. But every single week, my husband makes it a priority to go out and golf for 5 hours a week. And I feel like all of us, especially women, need to have something that looks like that too. I'm still trying to figure this out for myself of like what that looks like. But I feel like even just having 4-5 hours a week of do nothing time and really allow us to recharge, be inspired again, get into things and start new things, or start something that you've been putting off, maybe starting over on something that you used to enjoy. And honestly, I think my whole goal for this day is to just let myself be bored and allow my mind to just kind of reset. Like I think there's such a difference between doing something because it's productive and we feel like we need to do it, and just doing something out of pure curiosity and boredom. So we'll see what we get into today. The only rules I have is no social media, because if I'm bored, I will scroll, and no obligations. I don't have to fold laundry if I don't want to. I don't need to tidy the house if I don't want to. I'm very grateful that I work for myself, so I was able to front load a lot of work the last couple of days. So I honestly don't have a lot of work to do today, which is great. I'm actually kind of nervous, but there's a few things that I want to get into today that I feel like I just don't have time for. So first, we're just gonna go for a little bit of a run, listen to some good music. I feel like that always gets my endorphins going and gets my ideas. I get super inspired when I go for runs. And then I like to do a little bit of shopping. I think I'm gonna check out like a craft store or like an art store. I really wanna get into watercolor again. I might pick up some big artist canvases. I think just having a day to allow my mind to wander and get into whatever feels good in the moment sounds very freeing, and I'm excited. So we're gonna start off with a little run. All right, we're headed out to have ourselves a little do nothing day. I'm kind of hungry after that run. Also, if I stay at home, then I will literally end up doing nothing. And I feel like it's better to have a day out and about because then you kind of see what you get into, see what you're feeling. And today I am kind of in the mood for like an avocado toast. And there's this cafe that has been on my list for a really long time. So we're gonna go check it out. It's called Honey Hill and it looks so good. But I thought I'd share what's in my analog bag for being out for the day. First, I wanna share this cute little notebook I got from Anthology. I'm loving these kinds of notebooks because you can fill it kind of with whatever you want. You can get different kinds of inserts on Amazon, whether they're blank or you can get dotted ones. But I just love the size of this one because it's really easy to throw into my bag and it's super cute. You can customize it with the color of leather, the color of the strap, and then like different charms if you want. And they have bigger versions too. We have our chargers and then pen and pencils for writing and drawing. Kindle, I just started the Calamity Club. It seems like it's a really cute read, so I'm excited to start that one. My planner, this is just an Amazon planner, but I really like how it's laid out. It kind of just like keeps everything really simple, and then you have all of the months in the front of it. I went through my art supplies because I think I'm gonna go to the art store and pick up some new stuff, and I realized I don't have a lot of art supplies and the stuff I do have is pretty worn and used. But I'm bringing my watercolor book by Emily Lex Studio in case I just want to do a little bit of watercoloring. And then I have this little palette which I need to get a new one because this brush it's like a few years old at this point. It's seen better days, but I think I'm gonna go to the art store and get some new watercolor supplies. I want to get something that I can have at home and then something I can also take out and really easy to throw in my bag like this one. And then I want to start getting into my own watercolor, just kind of like painting whatever I feel like painting. And I found this little mixed media notebook in my closet, so I might use this while I'm out today. But yeah, I think we'll start off at the cafe, do a little bit of journaling, and then we'll go to the art store and see if we can find some art supplies. I'm excited to get back into painting. I actually wrote in my journal yesterday about how I feel like starting over, it's harder than starting something new. Like for some reason you just get so in your head and feel like you're not good enough, or there's something about like being rusty and it just being harder to come back to than like when you're new to something. You kind of have that excitement, you get all the supplies that you need, and there's just a lot of fun in learning something new. Whereas I feel like when you're starting over and coming back to something, it just feels like there's no motivation. It feels harder because you kind of like lost a little bit of that experience. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I feel like starting over is always harder, and something about painting again has been kind of like daunting to think about starting over again. But I'm trying to hype myself up. I think going to the art store will get me excited. If you guys didn't know, I used to work at Whole Foods and I used to do the chalkboards there, which you think would be like regular chalk, but it's not. We use markers, and you would kind of take all of the marker chalk ink out of it and turn it into a paint, and we would paint on those chalkboards. At least that's how I did it. I'm sure other artists may have done something different, but I really got my start in my career being an illustrator and a painter at Whole Foods. My, how things have changed. Went from being an art teacher to an illustrator at Whole Foods to working at Aura Ring, and now I'm a mom and do social media. So just kind of crazy where life will take you, but I really want to get back to my roots and get back to painting because it does make me so happy, and it's something where I truly just get lost in the flow, and I know I want to start making time for it again. All right, let's get that avocado toast. Okay, I'm so excited to show you guys what I got. I may have spent over $200 on this new hobby, but I don't think there's a better thing that you could honestly spend money on because it's so good for your mind and honestly your well-being. I also really enjoyed Honey Hill. There's so much space. That place was popping on a Tuesday morning, people in there doing work, meeting up, families. It was just such a great place for like good energy. So I highly recommend if you're in Denver and you need a quick service, healthy-ish cafe to go to or meet up with friends, highly recommend that one. So I stopped into, I think it's called Gary's or Gary's. It's a local art store here in Denver, and here's a few things that I got. First, I got some watercolors for Penelope because I figure if I'm going to be doing watercoloring, she's going to want to do it with me. So I figure if I get something for her, then hopefully she'll be more into her watercolor and less trying to paint my watercolor. And then I'm kind of partial to the brand Winsor & Newton, so I got just traditional watercolor tubes. These should last me a really long time because you're only supposed to use a very little bit of it in water, I think. Actually, I have no idea. So I will be YouTubing how to use these types of watercolor. And then I also got gouache. I'm gonna have to figure out how you say that, but I got these types of paints, which is just a little bit more pigmented. It kind of acts a lot more like acrylic or actual paint than watercolor, which is watercolor is like very forgiving. This is just going to offer a bit more vibrancy with kind of more of like a matte finish. So excited to kind of like dip my toes in traditional painting again with these. A little watercolor pad. I think starting on something smaller is just a lot more approachable than having an 8x10 or a bigger pad. They did have a 4x6 like note card size too, but if you are getting into any type of artistic hobby, I recommend just starting on a small canvas so it's a little less overwhelming. I got some really nice brushes, so I'll have to figure out how to store these in a safe way so that they don't get damaged. But I also did get a water brush. If you're starting out with watercolor, I highly recommend a water brush because it holds the water in the handle and then it's just so easy to take on the go. I think I'm gonna give Penelope my old water brush because it'll be a lot easier for her and a little less messy than having like a cup of water out for a toddler. Okay, that's everything I got from Gary's. And then I went to another store called Trunk Show. It's actually more of like a gift boutique, so if you're looking for a gift for somebody, it's a great place because they have things there that I cannot find anywhere else. Like it's like one of my favorite boutiques here in Denver because everything there is very unique. They have kids toys, they have party supplies, they have some craft supplies, they have like body care items, they have home items. Like it just has like a little bit of everything, and everything is so unique. I feel like you can't find it everywhere, and I kind of wish I went there first because I found the watercolor palette of my dreams. It's so aesthetic. It's a little heavy, but it's kind of like my old watercolor palette, but with a lot more colors. And then it also comes with a water pen. So I am super excited about this. It was like $35, which again, I feel like this will last me a really long time, and I think this will become my new travel watercolor palette. A little bit bigger, but I don't know, I just like having more colors and having more flexibility. And then I knew they had these, oh, I don't want to unwrap it. You guys saw it in my earlier video, but I knew they had these clay painting palettes there. They had bigger ones that just had more space for like mixing and water. But I think this one would be really cute that I can use with the watercolor tubes. So yeah, we picked up a lot of fun goodies today. I'm very excited to jump back into painting and watercolor. I do feel like although it can be expensive to start a hobby, once you get all the supplies and you find a dedicated space in your home to do it and make it a little bit part of your routine, it is so exciting. Like I cannot wait to jump into all this stuff. And I feel like I've been putting it off and I've been too busy to go to the art store and find supplies or even pick up painting again. And setting aside this time to just like go peruse a couple stores, see what speaks to me has been very therapeutic, and I'm excited to get going on this painting journey again. Okay, it's 12:45. I'm still kind of full from brunch, so I'm not feeling like stopping anywhere for lunch. And I kind of want to go take my watercolors out to the park and paint, but it is 95 degrees outside right now. The clouds are starting to come in, but I think I'm gonna go kill a little bit of time at the mall. Honestly, I actually get very inspired when I go to the mall and just window shop and see what's currently trending and what stores are starting to put out in their storefronts. I do need to get a few things for Penelope since she has grown like a little weed this summer. But we're gonna go wander the mall a little bit while it's still kind of hot out, and then I think I'm gonna go to the park and do a little bit of painting. Progressively as this day has gone on, it has inspired me so much to want to do this every single week, or at least just set some type of time aside each week, whether it's 2 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, to really just have no plans for the day, come and do something in silence, get off my phone, see what inspires me. I definitely think it helps being outside and just being creative and just not putting pressure on myself to create just for the fun of it. Like, I have no intentions on doing anything with this painting. I just wanted to let my mind create whatever it wanted to create. But I will say, since I have been kind of like all over the place today, this is the first time where I am feeling a little mentally bored. And I think that's just because I'm so used to constantly feeling overstimulated, always checking my phone or going on Pinterest or wanting to see if anyone has emailed me or texted me. So I feel like it's always really hard to just let our brains relax and not feel the need to jump from one thing to the next and just focus solely on one activity. It's always so much harder than I think it is.
No, it's right.
Alright, Casey, we gotta stop putting our hands in here, okay? Back home, got some sourdough going. I haven't made sourdough in a really long time. It's just been one of those things that has slipped my mind all week, or for weeks to be honest. But I'm going to continue my little do nothing day by hopping in a bath, maybe reading a little bit of my book. And I quickly wanted to show you guys what I picked up at the mall today. Very spontaneous, and apparently there was a color theme. Penelope goes back to school in a week, so I got her these little Adidas, and I love the brown. I was debating between brown and blue and just classic white, but I feel like these are fun, and especially for fall. And then I popped into Gap looking for something for Penelope and ended up getting something for myself. The skirt was up on the mannequin and I immediately fell in love with it. I've been really wanting a denim mini skirt, but it's just not practical with mom life, and I also find denim mini skirts just not very comfortable, and this one is knit, so it's like super soft, and it has shorts underneath, which honestly all skirts should have. And then Gap was buy one get one half off, so I just got a brown t-shirt. I love their vintage tees. I have these in several colors, and they're my go-to t-shirt. So just a fun little fall mall haul. There actually wasn't a lot of fall stuff at the mall yet. It's very just like back to school, a lot of stripes, a lot of like preppy school inspired outfits, which is fine because it's still a million degrees and I feel like fall really doesn't end up starting until October. To jump into work. I have a call here in 15 minutes or so, but I wanted to kind of reflect on yesterday and how great it felt, but also kind of challenging. In a way, I kind of view the day as giving myself a mini vacation in the week. So like having a vacation, you are able to kind of like relax. You're not thinking about all the things that you're supposed to be doing. You feel like you have time for things like reading and hobbies and doing things that you typically don't have time to do. And honestly, you're just kind of like killing time in the day, which is a really great feeling to have, especially when you're chronically productive. But I think one of the hard things about coming off of a do nothing day is then just like jumping back into reality. Like I really don't want to turn on my computer. I kind of want to just keep painting. I bought even more painting supplies this morning, which is, I guess, is a good thing because all in all that day ended up inspiring me so much more than I think if I were to just go along with trying to be productive and getting things done as much as possible. I feel like I was really able to allow my brain to just have a little bit of a reset, to find motivation to do things I want to do again, to get re-inspired. Like I truly believe that we can't just be chronically creative. We really need those times to rest and reflect, to allow creativity to kind of find its way back to us. But I feel like when you remove all of the distractions, whether it's social media, TV shows, always having something to accomplish. But when you remove all of that noise, you really start to notice the little things more, get re-inspired. You start to follow these little curiosities that you've been drawn to, whether it's something that is a recent interest or something that you've been interested since you were a kid. And I feel like we are in an era where everyone is just constantly trying to find inspiration, whether it's through Pinterest or TikTok or social media. Like we are searching for all of these online sources for inspiration versus just going out and allowing ourselves to live our life, to be bored and find what happens when we get bored. And then you're really able to notice what inspires you. So a few questions I wrote down in the beginning of this little experiment to see kind of how I would feel at the end of it. First, did I actually become more creative? I think so. I was able to pick up a hobby that I've been wanting to come back to. Was it as perfect as I wanted it to be? No, this is only day one, project one. I also made some sourdough. I started to feel a little bit more inspired. Did I feel more rested? I think I would put a kind of next to this one. I think once I finally allowed myself to rest, it felt restful, but I think it's just so hard to check out. Kind of like when you're on vacation, the first day of vacation, you're not really fully rested yet, but by the time vacation is almost over, you're like, oh, that felt really good. So I think the more I do this, the more I will feel rested on these days. Did I think about my phone less? Definitely. I had zero desire to scroll or go on social media to find inspiration. I did do a little bit on Pinterest, but just to kind of kickstart my ideas on what I wanted to paint. But when I started painting, I just kind of like let it all loose. And it truly is just such a reminder of how distracting and sucked into our phones we can be. And when you remove your phone, you're just surprised at how much limitless time it feels like you have. Did I have more ideas? I think so. I actually feel like removing all the noise, I came up with a lot of ideas yesterday for around work that I want to do and what I want to share more on social media. And I have a few brand deals coming up, and I feel like I was able to really focus on what I want to do for those brands and how excited I am for them. So TBD, but I'm really excited for all the inspiration and ideas that I got yesterday. Was being bored uncomfortable? I thought it would be more uncomfortable than it was, but I think ultimately it was actually kind of freeing. Like, I want to have a lot more bored days. And what was I naturally drawn to? What did I want to do? Personally, I found having a do nothing day, I really just like having a good solo day with myself. It doesn't really matter if I am creative or if I really do anything, but there's just something about going to a little coffee shop, maybe just walking around the mall, like very simple things that I felt like I was naturally drawn to, that I feel like when I'm traditionally working and trying to get so much stuff done that I feel like I don't have time for. So it's kind of nice to just like sit at a cafe as long as I want to and just go for a walk. And also simply being outside without any music, without any distractions, and just sitting in the park painting felt extremely freeing. So maybe 24 hours of a do nothing day is something that might not be feasible for you. Maybe it's only 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, but whatever it is, I highly recommend carving out that time with yourself. And I can't remember where I read it, but somewhere I read that someone likes to schedule in rest time versus constantly filling their calendar with things and then just like waiting for rest to happen. I think when we are intentional about scheduling in that time to just do nothing, to rest, to come back to our hobbies, to come back to reading, to just enjoy the simple things, it really just makes more room for that inspiration to come, for our creativity to come back. Like, we have completely lost the art of being bored, and I kind of forgot how much fun being bored can be. So I hope this video inspired you. If you end up having your own do nothing day, I would love to know what you did, how it went, maybe answer some of the questions and see how that day goes for you. Maybe it's something you start to implement once a week, but I think it's such a great way to get out of your head, come back to the simple things, and just allow yourself to be a little bored. So I hope you guys like this week's video, and I'll see you in the next one.